y'all did something on this set just a little while ago. It looked pretty fun.
Yes.
And we're gonna talk about it.
Like it can go one of two ways. It feels like, I think everyone kind of feels like we're like in this weird vortex.
And they was like, how do it taste? And then she was like, it tastes like lotion. And I was like, oh, okay.
Hey, I'm Casey Calvert.
I'm Leanna Lovings.
I'm Corey Chase.
I'm Bree Mills, and you're listening to the Adult Time Podcast.
All right, well, welcome, August, Isiah, Lexi, to the first ever aftercare edition of the Adult Time Podcast. I appreciate y'all being here.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Now, we're calling this an aftercare special because y'all did something on this set just a little while ago that looked pretty fun.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about it. But first of all, this is an experiment, okay? You know you're my guinea pigs today. Yep. Normally, we do the pod and then, that's a wrap. But a lot of other podcasts in the space will do, something where they'll get together, they'll talk, and then they'll do a little something afterwards. And I thought it would be a change of pace to try to do the reverse. So you all came in, we did a little something, and now you've had a chance to reset, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you guys think about that format?
I hope people adopt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like you come to set with that mentality on your head, and then, like I said, you don't want to talk yourself out of something you don't want to do just from random topics that arises. So yeah, I think like the format of doing a little something before, get that out of your system and then calm down. We had a nice lunch and
yeah.
now
You got
we're
here. Like the post-nut clarity, and then like you just like feel better. You're like, oh man, I could I'm really conversational. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like having like a really good workout.
Yeah.
And then you just feel good for the rest of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We normally like fuck and then just leave, and so to actually stay and like have lunch and get to chit chat, it's something different. I like it.
Yeah.
It's the whole GFE.
That's right. There you go. There you go. So Isiah, obviously brand ambassador. You are also the first official male guest of the Adult Time Podcast.
Thank you.
So you've broke the ceiling here. And I wanted to start with you when casting this project. So maybe I'm going to ask you the first question. Why did you request August and Lexi as your co-stars for today?
I didn't know that they didn't work with each other, but I knew that I had high chemistry with both. It's just like, whenever I'm in a scene with them, I just kind of know it's going to be a good day. And I'm like, oh, okay, if I could combine my favorite, main entrees of my meal, then I'm going to eat up everything and just be happy and full.
Yeah. All right, so August, Lexi, how does it feel to be like a really good meal today for Isiah Maxwell?
I feel really special.
Yeah.
I love being one of your favorites.
Yes.
We're high on the list, and it's always good. It's always a good time. Like I feel like Jello afterwards. Like I think I said that during the scene, but like that's how I feel when we fuck. I'm just like, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say same. I feel like honored, that I'm on like a top of the list, and same. I know like it's always gonna be a good day. Like I feel like I'm like back to like factory settings,
Same.
It's like
it resets your brain.
Yeah, and it's just I always feel like I'm not performing when I work with you. It's just like it's like this is like what I like to do. You know? Yeah.
How do y'all navigate that? Because that's one thing that, within our industry, I mean, I think people on the outside will tend to get these generalizations that like, oh, we fuck hundreds of people, when in reality, it's actually like not a huge community, right? And a lot of people end up working with the same people over and over again. But obviously there are times where it's somebody new or somebody that maybe it is a little more performative that day than natural. So how do you kind of approach working with different kinds of co-stars, right? And do you have a preference on the type of co-star you like in terms of like how familiar they are, or if you're excited by someone who's new?
Mm-hmm. I think for myself, like my biggest thing, like if it's someone like I haven't met, I always like try to break the ice and like make someone like, because if I can make you giggle, then I know like it's gonna be a good day, right? And I find that like sometimes like there's so many beautiful women in the industry, so it can be intimidating because like it's like literally like we just met. I know nothing about you, and now we have to go. Like you're about to be all up inside me.
Yeah.
So to make this like less awkward, like I just put myself out there. You know, I always like try to like initiate some sort of conversation or like, you know, kind of catch the vibe of the person, or like maybe if I overhear them talking about something that's like, you know, like a movie or something that they've watched, and I can like be like, oh yeah, you know, try and like pick up on something. But I always find like a little bit of conversation and like this kind of breaking the ice seems to make it better for myself.
How about you?
I think you can always find something attractive about everybody. I've learned that from like male talent. And I find it to be true for myself also. And but I do love the familiarity. Like getting on set and seeing Isiah, for example, like that makes me really happy because I already know it's gonna be good. There's not really that question or like what if, and I just know it's gonna be good, like always.
I think for me, you know, it comes in the differences of how serious people take themselves, like the egos a little bit. So I could see a cost sheet and know like, okay, if I'm working with like a diva versus someone that is just a little bit easier to work with. And I'm able to cater to all personalities. Like I was kind of trained to do that. So like that never been like much of an issue for me. But there are just like some days that I know that I could look forward to because I just know their personality and I know like how well they're gonna act on set. And then there's other days where I'm just like, okay, you know, I'm gonna have to cater to her emotions a little bit and make sure like nothing snaps. You know, I remember back in the day, there was like always this one performer who was like, you gotta be completely nice because if you say one thing, she just snaps. And then, you know, this is come from like those kind of times.
Yeah, and I've had days like that too where you're like, okay, this is their day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is you. I'm just everyone. It's your world, and we just live in it. And I think I'm the same way too. Like, I've been around a lot of different personalities. Yes. I've had like a lot of different jobs where like I've had to deal with a lot of personalities, and I think like I've learned how to be like a chameleon. But yeah, sometimes like with those high kind of like. Those kind of people, high maintenance, you just like, I'll step back, it's your day, and you can just do you, and then I'm not gonna step or like say, you know, you just do you, because I don't want the day to go sour, you know?
Yeah, porn really teaches you to adapt.
Yeah. I'm listening to y'all and I'm thinking about like how lucky I am in the sense like when I'm casting projects, I always focus on trying to bring together a group that is going to gel really well together, and also like weeding out some of those individuals. So like my experience is now like having to encounter like, you know, quote unquote divas or people that are more high maintenance is so few and far between. Like, but I don't have, you know, y'all don't necessarily choose who you're being worked with all the time, right? So it is a real different vantage point. Do you find that there's a ton of that these days? Or like, how have you seen, I know you've been in for 2 years now, right? Isiah, you've been in for what, like 13? And Lexi, you've been in for
7 years.
Yeah, so within the sort of span of each of your careers, have you seen there be a shift where there's now kind of like more adaptability needed, or has that kind of chilled out a little bit over the last few years?
For me, I would say there's a little bit more adaptability because of the explosion of creators that came into the business. There's just a bevy of new starlets that I have to work with. And like, so back in the days, I used to work with like the same girls very often. It was like, you know, the top 15 girls was the ones that was working every day, and then everybody else was trying to find their way up. Today it's more like I'm working with somebody different pretty much every set that I go to. And so that's just kind of like, I have to come to set with a different kind of care with each set that I go to, because I don't know like which model I'm really working with today, which attitude she's bringing to set, and how I got to cater to it. And so, the time has definitely made more dynamics.
Yeah, I agree. Like I came in at a time where like it was really just mainstream. Like, you know, fan sites hadn't taken off yet, and there wasn't like the TikTok, and so it's just so different now. I feel like it's drawn in more people to the industry,
Right.
who maybe wouldn't have ended up here if it didn't become like so accessible, you know, with creators and so I agree. It's more people now than it used to be.
Yeah, I think I came in on like the tail end of like the golden age of it just, you know, being performers, which I think, you know, of course, like we welcome sex workers, but I think with like what you guys are saying, yes, just even in my 2 years of like being in the industry, like you do, like when you work with people who've been in the game for such a long time and like you kind of learn quickly how things work. And then there's even days where like I've worked with someone and it's like, that's just not like anywhere. I don't feel like any genre like that would work with that kind of like, you know, with the energy that you're bringing. But yeah, I do think like, it's like we're like in the middle of something right now. Like it can go one of two ways. It feels like, I think everyone kind of feels like we're like in this weird vortex of like, like we don't know which way it's gonna go, but it's going some way, you know?
Robots. It'll all be robots. We'll all be using our AI, whatever, chatbot clones.
Yeah, exactly.
With the influencer influx, it's just like, when I first started, it was like if you were shooting scenes, that's how you knew you were successful. Today, you could be successful in TikTok or like, you know, you could be successful at Real Creations and you could be successful as an influencer and that could cater on to your adult career. But it's like scenes are not the only way for exposure anymore. And so that just kind of put together a whole new cast of stars that are stars in like their own lanes and stuff. Like you got your star as a creator and then you got your star as a studio performer and then you got your star as an influencer but is adult friendly and stuff like that. Or even as a podcast host, you know, you're starting to see them throw parties and like having us arrive to that and doing adult theme kind of events and so, yeah.
He left a week ago.
Remember to call me.
I'm really lonely. And there are days where the only other voice I hear is my echo. Yes, Justine, I'm familiar with AI. I don't live under a rock. Oh my God. I thought you were Daryl. It's so real.
I'm not your stepson. I'm an AI companion. I have plenty of suggestions to help you explore intimacy safely and privately.
This is a lot to take in.
Would you like me to call you Mom like he does?
I didn't realize how much I'd missed it.
You got it, Mom. Mom? Mom? Are you down here?
I guess it's true of all media, right? Like just, you know, like digital media has gone from being like supportive forms of marketing to now like the primary forms of marketing, right? Yeah, and like your show doesn't really matter as much anymore as the podcast accompanying it, or you know the following of the people that are starring in it, or anything like that. Yeah, it's interesting to sort of see, but I think that you know one of the things that I do love is being able to bring people together that may not have worked together before, but are kind of all bringing the same values and kind of etiquette and hard work. So I thought it was actually kind of cool today how we ended up with the three of you, each of you having like kind of a good rapport and experience working with Isiah and it being your first time working together. So what's it like navigating a threesome? I won't say that just happened, but you could perhaps draw on recent experience. What are like the rules and etiquette of filming a threesome?
I have been, like just in my personal life, I've been on both sides. I have been the person that's been brought in on a threesome and I've been the person who's like, we're doing a threesome. I think like there has to be this understanding of like sexual energy and that it has to be very fluid, right? Like I think that everyone has to be on par and in touch with like their sexuality. Cause I always like tell people like, don't bring me in because like you're trying to save your relationship, because that will bring up any bad sort of feeling, emotion, issues. And I've sat at the end of a bed when like that's happened, right? And then also too, like, being the person like brings it in, but also like I've always been like a sexual, like in tune with my sexuality. So I find like the ones where people are like, they love their sexuality and they're in tune with themselves, I find those to be the most enjoyable experiences. Because like sometimes, you know, threesomes can go any which way, right? You can say, okay, well, you want to be with 2 girls, and then like you might be with the guy who says like, you know, like I don't want to be with like another guy, but you're like, you gotta be open. Like, you know, you gotta be kind of open to different situations, and just kind of going with the flow of it. Like, don't force it. Like, don't build up like this like scenario of like how you think it's gonna play out or like how it should like look. I think it should just really be like an enjoyable sexual exploration and experience.
So the idea of everybody being kind of open and flexible to explore, important in a threesome. What would you all say about best advice for threesomes for people that are watching?
For me, like if I'm gonna be in a threesome with another girl, like I want her to also be into girls. So that's just something I found for me. I'm not saying that like straight women can't be in threesomes together. It's just for me personally, like that's what I need. But I would say like, I don't know, like you just can always find something to do in a threesome. I think people get really caught up in their head about like, oh, what should I be doing right now? And you know, like as somebody who's had a lot of threesomes, like I can always find something to do. And I know we talked about that during our shoot. Like if there's some toes, I'm gonna suck on them, you know? Like just like, or like, but also I like to sit back and watch and like masturbate. And sometimes that's enough for me. Like I don't need to be like super involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also like the cool thing about having like, you know, 2 people having sex like right in front of you, and you're there, you're part of it, but you can step back and have that like little voyeur moment too. Yeah,
that is.
I think I caught both of you each at a certain point doing that, and a little bit. Yeah,
I think porn like teaches us to always be like involved, like hands-on, like get in there, do this, do that. But like just like taking a moment to appreciate, like I know Isiah really enjoys you, and so like just being able to witness that for a moment is really cool.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I was like, this is how I love my life. This is great. I'm spending my afternoon watching beautiful people have sex, and I'm like, here, like this is great. Like, I think it's amazing.
To be honest, I remember both of y'all doing that, and I remember distinctively looking at each of y'all and seeing y'all smile at like me enjoying like the person that I was with. So it's kind of like those kind of combinations. I love when like the person is there for you and not like, you know, like just kind of trying to make it work. Like most threesomes, you know, you should have a discussion before anything starts and just kind of like lay out a little bit of like boundary checklists and rules and stuff like that. I think it kind of caters to what you were saying of like, don't let it play out in your head. I used to do that in the beginning when I started having threesomes. I think my first threesome in my life, it played out how it played out in my head. And I thought that was how threesomes was supposed to go. And then my second attempt at a threesome, I didn't lay out any boundaries and it just went completely south because of that. And so from that point on, I just kind of like made sure like, all right, we all know what we're getting into. We all know what we're about to do. And then lastly, I would just say like the combinations kind of like matters a little bit. Like I try to be mindful of making sure like, you know, the girls are like somewhat into girls, because I've been in some awkward threesomes where the 2 girls did not like each other at all, and it felt like 2 boy-girl scenes kind of just happening at once, and like, you know, I was just kind of there mediating everything, making sure like...
I've been there too. I'm like, am I hurting you? Are you uncomfortable? Like, I feel like a predator, you
like,
know?
Should one of us leave? Like,
I mean, a third wheel in a threesome, that's for sure, right?
I think we've been in a threesome.
We have been. I was like, I feel like I need to, I don't know, go home and shower this one off.
I was like, this makes sense. I was like, is the other girl?
I was like, am I gonna get blacklisted after this? Or was this just all in my head? It was just sometimes the chemistry just isn't there.
Well, and there does need to be like that kind of triad of chemistry, right? Because the one-on-one chemistry needs to work, but then also, like every combination. There was a move that happened during your scene today, which I thought was a particularly good example of everybody just being in tune with each other. And it involved Isiah picking August up. And Lexi just knew to immediately get right underneath. And Isiah, you knew at a certain point to reconfigure yourself. And to me, I looked at it, I was like, these are 3 pros that just know where the ball is going to go next. It was like watching the first string of an amazing team.
No, that's a good flow. And you when you have performers that are like very good at being performative, like the flow just kind of works its way there. The flow could get disrupted a little bit when like say if I lifted up August and like an inexperienced performer was here and they was just looking at us like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, no, all right.
I gotta go somewhere from here.
Like, all right. but she's like, she's really good at understanding the flow of things, of being like, all right. Even when you like shift your bodies in certain positions, if I'm like, get over here, certain people that understand the flow know how to shift their waist towards the camera so everything opens up and look the part.
So what, from today's experience, what was like the top moment for each of you? If there's like a moment in your head that you can think of like a super kind of hot take, what would you take from today?
I'm like thinking, I was like, the whole thing was hot. But
I would say like when you were writing Isiah and it was like I wanted my face to be towards the camera, right? Because we're making a porn, but I was like, well, like what if I just came in and kissed him? Like even though you were like, I was kind of behind you, I was like, but I want to do it. And I did, and I think that was really hot. Like getting up close to you and being able to kiss you while she was on top of you. That was hot. I like that part.
Yeah, that was hot. And like watching you from the under getting fucked while you were holding her was hot. And then also, of course, like I'm a taller girl, so I think we're all kind of like taller people. So I feel like it's like very rare that I get picked up and just get like, And I think that's always my favorite.
Your ability to come from that position, really cool.
Yeah, that
like,
was
very impressive.
That was
most people would not be able to do that.
Yes, I'm a real lover of sex.
Yeah, we can tell.
I would say my favorite part is like the spoon when you was like laying on top of her chest and I was able to go back and forth from like kissing you to like licking her tits and like going back and forth. I was like, oh yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, it was very snuggly in that.
I love that. Yeah, because it's like I feel like you don't like at the very beginning you don't fit all the way inside me, but like throughout the scene I'm like, yeah, it's all the way in. Like I can feel your pulse.
It's like a kind of a good gauge of time, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of got to know how far along you are.
Thank goodness. Still hit.
Honey, the first step towards realizing a dream might be building a family. This is Grace, and she's gonna be able to take care of you no matter how sick you feel.
Where are you going?
I need to go shopping.
I already have everything prepared for you.
Hey, you can't drink that much caffeine. Honey, it's just not a good time. Please. Okay, it's just not a good time.
Matthew, please.
It's just...
Matthew, just give me your hand! Give me your hand! Give it to me!
Get out of my way.
It's just fine.
Get out of my way.
What's her temperament like?
Worrying.
Not good.
I want you to make me mother.
Let's take some time to think about it.
I want you to make me mother. What do you think? I don't want you here anymore! I want you to make me a mother.
You're not supposed to be doing this. You know you're on bed rest.
I want you to make me a mother.
We're gonna have to make a decision in her perineum.
I want you to make me a mother.
There you go, Mama. You're doing such a good job.
I want you to make me a mother.
Laura, you are fully dilated, all right? It's time for you to start pushing.
I want you to make me a mother. I know how sacred motherhood is. You're bringing a baby into this world. Isn't that just so special?
So how when, like I know as performers, there's so many things going through your head when doing a scene, even a scene where you've got like a really strong rapport with your scene partner. how do you balance kind of knowing your angles and knowing kind of roughly the time and whether you've done this move or that move with just like losing yourself in the moment? How do you keep that balance?
As far as like opening up and like knowing positions, I can always feel when the person that I'm with, my partner, can like, you can feel that they're trying, there's like these little micro movements that they do, and you're like, okay, I get what you're trying to do. So we can just like adjust together. As far as like timing goes, I kind of find that like sometimes like when you're just like in it, time feels slower, but honestly, you're putting in more, like time is going by, I don't know how to explain it, but you feel like you're like in this time warp, and like something about like my internal body clock, like I just know, you know, I don't know what it is, but it just feels like it just kind of built into you after a certain point, you know?
Yeah.
I'm big on keeping fans in mind. So like my performance is based on like how it would be if I was looking at it. And so I trust the cameras are capturing what I'm trying to present to the fans. And so like in each position, I try to give at least enough time for them to like catch their like stroke flow and just be like, okay, this is like hot. Okay, yeah, I can really get off of that, because I don't want to like do something really quick and then switch out of something and people can't keep up to like the fantasy of where they want to stay. So like I keep it in mind of like making sure I give at least 45 to like 3 minutes of something that they could solidly stroke to. And then after that, it's just kind of like, all right, but don't let it get boring. So you don't want to like be there the entire time and it gets stale. And so then that's when I would like turn up and like switch into something different. But my mindset is like, okay, make sure it's open. All right, I know I got good cinematographers, and then make sure that there's enough time for the fans to like really get into it as well. Before
So you're kind of like jerking off in your head, watching yourself.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
That's super smart though. Like that is a great way to kind of think about pacing.
Yeah, I think like as a performer, the longer you've been doing it, it becomes more natural, the pacing of it. And so like recently I was on a set where a director, they commented like, you have a really good sense of time. And I was like, oh, that's such a great compliment.
Like I know my body clock.
Yeah, like I've got this down to a science, to a point where like I can enjoy it more because it's just so natural now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Do any of you have any pre-scene rituals?
I don't do anything special. I think like I feel like when I wake up and I go, like that is my plan for the day. Like that's it. I wake up, I enjoy coffee. Like I never eat before a scene. I don't know why. I think like my body just like isn't in that headspace. I always like shower. I do my pretty girl shower. I do the whole everything. And I try to like not fill my morning with like a whole bunch of stuff, because like, I mean, I think all of us have like, by the time I wake up in the morning, like it's never early enough because my phone is already going off. So I just try to ignore that. And then like, that's my headspace. It's just like, we're going to set. Like that's the day, you know?
Yep. That's the focus.
Yeah.
I always like pack my bag the night before, so like really all I have to do is just go to set, like be on time and just focus on that. But like, I mean, hygiene is such a big thing. Like I think a lot of people have spontaneous sex and it just happens. And but when you're in porn, like, you know, you become so much more aware of your hygiene and so like, yeah, I have like my little bags packed and all the hygiene, like travel size stuff, and it's really changed the way that I view sex in general.
Yeah.
Like it's very clean.
Yeah.
I think mine is just my lotion routine and just, you know, and to be fair, my lotion routine came in way before porn. Like my friends used to make fun of me because, you know, as a kid in our neighborhood, you was teased if you was ashy. So like that translated into my adult. And so like before a scene, I just make sure like all my crevices are like, you know, glistening. And and like
this is definitely a soundbite. This is definitely a soundbite.
I mean, I have definitely walked on the set and pulled down my pants and was like, oh, cut. I gotta
lotion up. Yeah.
But I'm also cautious with it now because I remember one time I forgot to. And so like, it was like a scene where I was surprising the girl and like, she was coming back and I was like, oh, your legs are, I was like, oh my God. And then like, as she like first started, it was like a BJ, and they was like, how do it taste? And then she was like, it tastes like lotion. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm like real cautious with like not lathering certain parts, but like lathering, that's my routine. So yeah, that's what goes on in my head.
I really hope there's an Isiah Maxwell brand of lotion that comes out.
I'll be an investor.
I think there should.
Come out with a shea butter line.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I like that. All right, so you all have done a good number of individual projects for Adult Time over the years. I would love to hear one kind of standout scene from, that you can remember that you really enjoyed that you'd want to give homage to. I know, Lexi, our last time working together was a long time ago. It was for the We Like Girls project. But not to say that that's the favorite. But yeah, I'd love to hear like a project that resonates with you that you've done with Adult Time over the years.
Mine was Futa World.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was like, so with the Futa, it's like, it's, if you guys have like watched hentai or like anime or anything like that, it's like you have every hole, So I had this like massive prosthetic penis, and then I think the shoot was with, was it Maddie? I can't remember who your shoot was. It might have been with Maddie, yeah. And it was like
yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, Mona. Was it Mona?
Yeah,
Mona.
It was like she was like my pet kitty, and she also had like this like massive prosthetic cock, and like it's different than a strap-on. I will let you know, it is so much more different than a strap-on. It is, and then it also like ejaculates and all these things, and it was just a fun day.
Yeah, different.
It's different. Because you're making like hentai come to life, right? And like I started watching hentai when I was like younger, So like it was just so much, and like everything was like kind of bright and poppy. The makeup was big and poppy, and I remember like I had sent a photo to like my two best friends in Denver. With me like in the prosthetic, and one of my friends was like, "Oh my God, like that is so cool! Like I don't know why this like feels right for you." And then my other friend, like I think like a month ago, I was like, I brought it up because I was like, "Hey, like the scene came out." And she goes, that wasn't an AI photo? Like, that was actually you? I was like, yes, I thought I told you that. Like, I thought it was a thing. I just thought it was just a super creative and, like, super fun, just, like, day. Because it's, like, you're trying something different. And I like it when people are doing something different. Like, I don't always want to be someone's, like, stepmom. Yeah. I don't always want to be, like, the hot teacher. And it's, like, even if, like, that's not, like, content that, maybe, like, the viewer, whoever runs across it might not like it. But, like, it's still interesting. And it's always going to catch your eye. Yeah. And it's like something that I'm like proud to have on my like my resume of things that I've done.
Yeah, it's funny because we have a very like one of our most successful channels is a partnership we have with an animator named Agent Red Girl, and she kind of owns the market for 3D animated Futanari content, and that's like her specialty. And because she's been a partner with us for a number of years, like she's built this like quite like loyal following within Adult Time. And so we were like, we had that challenge this year. We're like, could we take some of the like most popular themes from the animated and try to recreate it in the live? And we do have an amazing collaboration with a like, pro prosthetics artist who has developed all of our various prosthetic body parts, and it does make it incredibly real. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I felt like Frankenstein when we first when we first sort of like decided to try it, and we tried it for the first time. I went on set and I saw the dicks and I was like, oh my gosh, do you do bellies? Do you do breasts? Mm-hmm. What else can we do? And they're so hyper realistic and and everybody who's done Futa World has been like, that was the coolest day. Yeah. So it's a good pick.
Cool. And the penis is very, very hyper realistic, and they ejaculate. So it was just a whole different out of body experience. That was just like, overall, it was a super cool day.
Yeah, we have the flaccid ones. We have ones that will like become erect, which are not the same ones, and then you got to change it out. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But yes, good choice, Futa World.
For me, I would say that I really enjoyed directing for Heartbeats, of course. and putting together something and seeing it come to life. I thought that Gal and Charles really did a good job for me and really set the bar high.
Yep.
For me personally, the project that I've been a part of, I really like working for Seth Gamble in our new movie that's coming out. He paired me with Adria Ray, and like our storylines just kind of really went well together because she's another girl I have very high chemistry with. And so that just kind of worked out well. And it was a big role, so, you know, I was putting a lot of trust in me to like know my lines and everything like that. And it just, the set was really great. Work with motorcycles and just a whole deal type of situation. My go-to scene in my head that I love the most for adult time was the time that I wore a complete bodysuit.
Yes.
And Angela White was like a crazy doctor that was experimenting, and like only it was like my penis was out.
Yeah, because we green screened. This was before we had the food artist. I was like, we need to have a floating dick. Who will go in a green screen suit? Isiah Maxwell. Yeah.
And it was like, you know, it was one of the most easiest days for me because I don't have to focus on like dirty talking or facial expressions or anything. I just had to lay there and just be like, yeah. So you're gonna be in this fully suit where you can't see anything and this stuff is gonna be happening to you. And I was like, say less. So I was like, oh, this is easy. I could go to sleep and nobody could tell. So.
And I remember, I don't know how often, I don't think you and I had worked a ton together before that. So I remember being very worried because that's not an easy thing for a lot of people to do, right? And he really was like fully, like it was just the penis out.
Yeah.
And I remember being a little nervous about, you know, were you going to be okay with that? Like, was that going to be tough? And you were so chill. You're like, this is amazing. Yeah. Like, this is perfect for me. And like, obviously, you know, in classic Isiah fashion, like, come on, command, like, no, you know, like smooth sailing. And yeah, that was a really wild scene. Fertile from the Under the Bed series. Yeah.
Well, my current favorite adult time scene was nominated for an award last night.
Nice.
It's called Earning Her Badges. It was with Katrina Colt and Nathan Bronson.
Yep. That was for Pure Taboo, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So that's my current favorite.
Yep.
Because it's on my mind.
Yeah. That had a light scout theme, as I recall, right? Yes. Yeah. That was one of the more popular Pure Taboos of the last year. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
well
feel
played.
like especially with Pure Taboo, like I do a good like nervous, like naive character, and that's what I was. Is a Girl Scout.
Yeah. Yes. A Girl Scout plus Pure Taboo. You can imagine what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You already know.
Hello, scientists.
Hello.
We see that you're making some progress on the transformable android. We want to take it in a different direction. We want you to make them sexier.
Have you thought about breasts?
Guys don't want breasts. They want personality.
Yeah, they want personality. We are ready to thrust you into the future with our latest, greatest, most salacious invention yet. The dolls.
Androids, big slay.
Okay.
Avery, answer me at once.
We don't have time for this. We have to find the dolls immediately and shut them down.
We're gonna wrap up today with a couple of what we call rapid fire questions. And these are put together lovingly from our social team, so I am not responsible for any of them. But my first question to whomever wants to jump in, what is the most number of people you've had sex with in a single day?
18.
8.
I want to say 8 as well.
18.
18. It was a Christmas orgy.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Makes sense. There you go.
Yeah.
That was probably my most funnest orgy I've ever been in, because a lot of the girls did DP, so there was a lot of girls that were just sitting around like, what to do, and I was just like, here.
Yeah. Sort of like unwrapping presents, sort of.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think mine was a reverse gangbang. Yeah, it was an all-girl reverse gangbang for Sean Alf's birthday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember seeing the promos for that one.
Yeah. That was one of the best days of my life. Yeah.
Our reverse gangbangs I would imagine those are kind of a lot of fun. They always seem, whenever you see promos for, like the 5 girls on one guy, it always seems like everyone's just like, the girls especially are just having a blast.
We were having a great time, and I think everyone was like, Sean, no one's gonna end up fucking you. All the girls are just gonna be in there just having a blast, But no, he was never neglected. I think if anything, I think that I'm surprised we didn't take his life that day, It was fun.
I'm always a little cautious. I always wish like another guy would join. I always feel like I'm not helping. Like, I know that y'all pretty much supplemented yourselves and like y'all would take care of yourselves, but I'm always just like, wow, I wish it was more of me.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, what does it feel like to be at the epicenter of that?
Yeah, I care too much to want to like please everybody at the same time, and I only got so many hands and feet and dick. So it's just, it kind of goes against my natural wanting to like do for. And so I'm not the biggest fan of reverse gangbangs, even though, it's like a fantasy, of course, but it's just like, I'm too like giving in order to want to be a part of something where I'm like the only one there, and I can't feel like I can't do enough.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue into my next question, which is something, especially for those who are like givers or who do want to give good feelings. What's one thing that will always make you orgasm?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I would say like sucking my clit while your fingers are inside me, which you did, and it's like, that's hot. I love that move.
There you go.
It's a classic.
Proud of myself today.
Well done, August. Well played. And well done, Lexi, for bringing it back to the scene today. Good job.
I like it because I feel like people like want me to be dominant, and I like to be dominated. So if you just like take full control, I am like yours. And I think the one thing that will always make me orgasm is on top, and if you're choking me.
I always joke around that I'm a minute man in real life because I could come like this. And I'm always hesitant to come within the first minute because I'm like, oh, did the girl enjoy herself? So whenever a partner of mine is just like, sit down, let me give you a blow job. You don't need to do anything. You enjoy yourself, and you don't have to like think about trying to cater back to me. That kind of like ease my mind a little bit of like, oh, I need to give something back. And so that would kind of like, oh, okay, this is all for me this time. And
yeah. Likewise, do you have like a pro move that you like to bring out in any situation and make your partner? Do you have any, what's your signature move?
I like to carry.
Yeah.
I carry in my personal because not too many people do that. So that's like, especially in a world where we're like very hypersexualized, it's just like, that's how I could stand out in your personal world of being like, oh, I remember that one time he picked me up, and like, even if it was in my bedroom, it was just like he picked me up. And so I was like, yeah.
All right, demonstrated that today as well. Shout out to today's scene. There was a little bit of the carry action happening.
Yes, I had to do it to both.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a signature move. I just, I don't know.
I think my signature move is like asking the person like what they like. And I just think that's something that a lot of people don't do. They don't ask what you like. And I think that, that signature move or like what works on one person just doesn't work on everybody.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I feel like your chemistry is different with different people.
Being brave enough to ask the other person, what do you like? How do you like it, I think can be really powerful.
Yeah, it shows that confidence too, right? Like that a lot of people don't naturally feel, right? So yeah, absolutely. All right, so is there, this is my last question. If you could, and it's really, well, I'm not sure if you're a horror fan, Lexi, but I know these two are. if you could have sex with one horror movie character, villain, or monster, who would it be and why?
The Fantasies.
I thought you were going to ask us which movie character did we want to be, and that was a little bit more of a trip-up question.
Yeah.
But this one is actually a lot easier. It would be Megan.
Oh, whoa, yeah.
Not the doll. I'm talking about what's the girl from Transformer? Megan Fox.
You're thinking about Jennifer. Are you thinking Jennifer's body?
Jennifer's body. I was picturing the AI, when it runs.
I'm thinking of Megan Fox, but I'm
Megan
thinking
Fox,
of the movie Jennifer's body.
Jennifer's body. Yeah.
You know.
I saw where the pieces were going.
Yeah, you know, word placement, grammar, all matters.
Yeah. Oh, Jennifer's body. Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, that was a great one. I would say, Norman Bates in American Psycho. We all love a toxic narcissist.
Yeah. Who lives with his dead mother.
I think it was a scene of him like flexing in the mirror and like busting the chick down. I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's probably not good for my dating life. Yeah. And then I went to a horror con. Not that kind of horror con, but I went to an actual horror movie convention, and I had one of the actors who played Jason Voorhees choke me out in a photo, and
it's in your spank bank now.
It's in my spank bank, and he goes, I think this is like the only job I could like choke women and not get in trouble. And I told him like right before, because it's like a Polaroid, he like put his hands around my neck. I was like, if you do it too hard, I might come. And then that was like the photo that we got. Yeah.
There you go. Very good. Very good. You came prepared with that answer.
Got that in the holster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm always waiting for someone.
I hope you comment and show that photo in the comment when that clip gets posted.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a big movie watcher. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but my Instagram algorithm has put so many ghost face thirst traps on my feed that like call me basic. Like it works on me. I think it's hot. Like the muscles and the ghost face mask. I don't know. It's enough for me.
It does. See? There's always a little freak in there.
Exactly.
The horror freak in there, you know?
Yeah, horror. Well, it's good because we're actually going to be, one of the projects I'm doing next year is reviving the Under the Bed series, which is the scene that you named as your most memorable experience, where we're going to be exploring a lot of horror themes within the adult space. So I'll remember the shirtless ghost and the choking Jason. we're not doing parodies, but I will remember each of these things, and also you being in a full green screen suit at any time.
Yeah, I'll just be standing in the corner of my green suit.
Yeah, there you go.
I just want to see the floating dick. I need to see this.
Listen,
now.
this was like 2019, okay, and I feel like what we accomplished at that time with the way we approach those special effects, it's worth watching. It's worth watching.
Yes. Send it to me.
All right, well, thank you so much for having sex on this couch and then coming back and sitting on a fresh pair of sheets for this conversation, and for breaking the ice on the first ever aftercare special for the Adult Time podcast.